Blake Production.
Yo, what's going on, guys? So I'm gonna go over one last little breakdown here for the upcoming week before I do this little 4 weeks out at this apprenticeship training. So we're gonna start off with BTC, and we're still getting some selling here. So it's time to take into consideration: is this the top? Of course. If it's not, then if it's not, we're gonna go to 100K, which is absolutely nuts. But this is what I'm looking at. We have this 5 wave move. So I want to see, is this going to bring us back to the golden pocket? And the golden pocket is the entire move from the low of March 2020 to the high of like 64K, right? So that's the entire move. The golden pocket is around 25K ish. So maybe we're going to get this 1 2 3 4 5 move back here, and then we're going to expect like maybe 1 2 3 to the upside, right? So we'll be looking for that. This might be a nice buy opportunity if we get to this golden pocket. That's what I'm looking for. If it goes past the golden pocket, then it's going back to probably $20,000 area where we have this trend line where it's like kind of like touching from the March lows. So we're keep an eye on that just in case, because if it comes up to that area, like, come on, that'll be 70% off its highs, which is like, oh, like fire sale for sure. But then you got to pay attention, right, to the cycles, right? If it is that, and we're going to be trickling down, maybe when we're adding in with that keep that in mind, right? Like, if we are going through that phase, are you ready to hold for another long period of time if you're collecting BTC? So be wise when you're starting to collect it now, right? If this is the lows, we're going to go to 100K. Crazy. With ETH, I'm looking here with ETH. And the scary part is if I use the fib extension on BTC or ETH, like, it's a scary move. So like the fib extension, I don't even want to look at it. It says we're gonna go back down there. It probably won't, but we're starting to see some buying coming in right now. So you know what? Maybe this could be like a nice quick W pattern. So that's what I'm looking for. I also have 1900 marked out, 2000, 1700, because this is areas we've come down to already. So I got all these areas marked out to see, are we going to get more buying? If not, then I have 1200 here marked out as well, just in case. If we get down to these levels, man, and we have like a 1 2 3 and ABC correction, and then we go back up, whew, that would be a huge fake out, right? So we got to be prepared that could be potentially a thing too. I'll highlight that so you guys can see it. You never know. You really never know. That would be a massive fake out. Who's going to be like blowing past down 2000 would be, I'm pretty sure, would scare a lot of investors. So just keep this in mind, these levels, because I think that if we can't regain some sort of base around here, around 2K, 2.2K, then we could be looking downward further. So I wanted to bring up a couple pot stocks that I thought were definitely looking good. So we got nice big volume coming in on CGC. So this is Canopy Growth. You could also see this name as Weed, WEED. Same thing, except weed is on the Canadian side. So this Monday, when stocks aren't trading on the American side and you don't see CGC, you can buy weed and it'll be very, very similar price action. So keep that in mind. But I like what I see here. We have like a nice push to the downside, which we could expect, because if we look to these cycles, right, like once we get over the 20 EMA, this is when I was buying. I got out around here, and then I just let it slide out because we need time to let it just correct. And now big volume coming in. It's the summer's getting hot. Canopy Growth, all these names. Now America wants to legalize, and it's looking like they're probably gonna go nationwide as well. Like around all of US is gonna legalize. So, oh man, I don't know. These weed names, pay attention to them because they're volatile. Like crypto, they're very volatile. But these things, like, imagine the trade right now. If this just wants to go back to its highs from in February is 100% trade. So that's a doubler. If that potential is coming, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a potential trade here. Like, just keep that in mind. And Hexo, keep this one. I like this one from a weekly perspective. This trade, because if pot stocks do want to go on this run, they just bought out Redican and Hexo, CGC, and probably like Aurora or Tilray will be like Canada's top three pot companies, right? So keep an eye on these companies, guys. Like, if they run, it'll be worth having some coin in them. You know what I mean? Like Hexo, it's gonna be volatile. Look at this big volume coming in. It's at $8.65, right? Even if it just wants to get from the high of this move to the low, right? If we want to get back to the golden pocket, that's like a 230% trade. So there's potential. It's not a guarantee. Even if we want to get back to like $20, that's a 130% trade, right? So keep these names on the watch list. PLTR, I like this. Like, we're breaking out of this wedge here. We want to start playing sideways. That'd be the most bullish case. Right now we want to play sideways. We don't want to get faked out again and it be more of a downward channel from this perspective, right? So we want to see us play sideways. That's what the best case for us. If we play sideways, it'll show that we're holding the buyers and not many sellers are, there's not a serious amount of sellers. When we look at this from a log perspective, we broke out of this descending channel a long time ago. So it's looking good. I like it. We might see something like this where we need to come back test, then run again. Keep PLTR on the watch list. If this name runs, oh man, it'll be so worth to have. Its highs were 45. If it wants to double from there, that's a 90. We're getting in that sweet spot if this wants to be one of those crazy tech names that goes for a run. So we got GameStop here. This is what I want to look at. So we have this big bearish engulfing candlestick here. Bearish engulfings, this is what they usually indicate. Look, right? Downside, downside. I'd be looking for this. We either want to play and hold, right? An inside bar and play inside and hold this 8 EMA. That's the best case for GME. Otherwise, like, we're just playing in this massive wedge. And then it's all just like a gamble, really. Like, it's going to come down to what? This big apex here? And then what's going to happen, right? It's going to be, is it going to blast off? Like, it's going to have to get through this level again. So this thing's a wild beast right now. Look at it. If you got in at May 11th, it like doubled. So just like, I guess, be careful in this range. That's what I'd be watching out. Because if we break bear, it's just, there's a lot of bag holders in this area. Breaking bear is not good. So we have AMC here. So what I like from AMC is when we look from a weekly perspective is like that is a nasty falling wedge. And it had a beautiful breakout. And it's so easy to see now in hindsight, right? I'd be watching this from a daily perspective. It seems to be holding this bottom trend line, and that is a similar candlestick that you see around this area. We could see, and that big bearish volume is people exiting. So it might be too much too soon. We might need to come back to the 8 EMA. And if we can't hold that, then I expect us to fizzle out and come back towards that trend line. If we can't hold it, that's not a good sign. So keep that on your charts, right? That trend line is mad important. And it seems silly, right? Because it's a trend line, but I'm telling you, like, once this breaks, that's when you're going to see the fall of it. Like, that's when you're going to see the chart completely fall, right? Like, look at this trend line. Once it breaks over it, look at the reaction. So that's why you got to respect the trend lines, especially from a daily and a weekly perspective. So that's pretty much what we got. Yeah, so enjoy. I'll be posting some updates on in the meanwhile. If you guys want to do Zoom chat, so if you want to learn TA, or if you're just getting into stocks and you want to like get your fundamentals down pat, shoot me a DM and we could Zoom chat. And same thing for crypto. If you guys want to get into that, DM me and we could do some chat. So peace, guys.